Good evening, everyone. I want to be very brief here this evening because as I've been doing some research here, I've discovered that a lot of people believe that the Bible contradicted itself when it talks about the death of Judas Iscariot. And the truth of the matter is that it did not. What people fail to understand is that this, when Matthew and Luke talk about it, they're talking about the same event from a different moment. And and I'll be very brief here in explaining that. I don't know if any of you had questions about it, but I wanted to just share this with you. I did a little bit of did a lot of research into it, but in Matthew 27, starting with verse 3 says, "Then when Judas, his betrayer, saw that Jesus was condemned, he changed his mind and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders, saying, 'I have sinned by betraying innocent blood.' They said, 'What is this to us? See to it yourself.' And throwing down the pieces of silver into the temple, he departed and went and hanged himself." That right there, that is how Judas died. Judas hanged himself. But where people are confused is when Luke, a physician in the book of Acts, comes back and says in Acts chapter 1, verse 18 and 19, "Now this man acquired a field with the reward of his wickedness, and falling headlong, he burst open in the middle, and all of his bowels gushed out. And it became known to all inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the field was called in their own language Akeldama, that is, field of blood." And so what we got to understand there is Luke is not explaining, he's not explaining how Judas died. He's talking about what happened after he died. Okay, so I put it to you like this. So let's say that I witnessed someone getting shot. You know, and if I tell the story after, if the person unfortunately dies, I'm going to tell it saying, "Man, this dude, he got shot and killed." That's what my account of it was. But if a coroner or a doctor or someone that's doing the autopsy afterwards tells the story, they're going to say, a blunt force trauma or a gunshot wound to the femoral artery, just giving a random definition, and causing him to bleed out. And that's the result of his death. Now, what's happening here is, like I said, Luke is a physician as well. He's got a few titles, but physician is one of them. And so he's given a more graphic detail of what happened after Judas hanged himself. So understand, he died by hanging. He killed himself. He hanged himself. But over the days, as his body was decomposing and the bacteria started eating away, and I get a more accurate description here. Matter of fact, his dead body hung in the hot Jerusalem sun, and the bacteria from inside his body would have actively been breaking down tissues and cells. A byproduct of bacterial metabolism is often gas. The pressure created by the gas forces fluid out of the cells and the tissue and into the body cavities. The body becomes bloated as a result. In addition, tissue decomposition occurs, composing the integrity of the skin. So what that is saying is that Judas' body was almost like an overinflated balloon. It was, as he laid there and he was dying and that sun was cooking him up and the bacteria was actively moving faster and faster, either someone cut him off the rope or the rope snapped. And when he fell, think about all these gas and all of this, he was swollen up. His body burst as soon as it hit the ground. That happens. And if you don't believe me, you can watch something as simple as Animal Planet and see when like an animal dies, if the vultures or other animals that come, like hyenas and all of them, don't come and eat on the animal, they begin to swell up and eventually they're going to explode, thus spoiling that animal's meat. That is essentially what happened to Judas. And so I say all of that to say this: Judas died by hanging. And what Luke is talking about is the same event, but it is talking about as a result of his hanging and him being there. It happened. It happened as a result of the hanging, but this is the aftermath. It would be like my gunshot wound. I saw a man shot and killed. The coroner or whoever does the autopsy gives a more accurate description, gives the physician description of what happened. That is the same with what's going on with Matthew and Luke. So there's no contradiction. It's just, once again, like I always say, when some people, when they read, they get confused, and it is a misunderstanding or a misinterpretation of what they're reading. Because if you listen to what Luke says, he only gives the description of the body falling to the ground, bursting. He doesn't give a description of, hey, he hanged himself, or he was walking in the field and then he fell over and burst. That's not what he's saying. He's talking about what happened after the fact. So I hope this was good to helpful for you in case you had any questions about it, because reading it at first glance, it can be confusing. And so that is why we have to dive into the text. And when you don't understand, seek out those who know the Bible very well. That's what I love to do, because I don't have all the answers. I'm not going to pretend to have all the answers. I go out and I seek guidance from different pastors and biblical scholars. And you can find it sometimes right on YouTube. You can do that as well. So love you guys. I hope that was helpful. I'll see you all soon. Bye.